And I don't, I don't know what to make of that shit. From what I understand, I wish before August 22nd, 2022, I would have, people kept telling me I was under heavy fucking curses, but I didn't want to fucking believe it, and not just like simple fucking pedestrian shit, but heavy shit, like, and I wish I already with Baron Samity had a strong spirit team to be able to block that. Most people who, they want to go high, they work with a he cape. But because he already made me a sacrifice, that just set up everything else to just, not the most egregious curses. Well, I'm under it. But for other shit to fucking come in, and I don't need what I deserve that shit. I don't want that for my life. I was thinking to myself, this wetback bitch is living in the Pacific Palisades. She's thriving in that timeline. I saw it today and got all my money. And meanwhile, I go to Walmart and I can barely afford bare necessities. There's months where I can barely afford food. And, I was smart, articulate, studious kid. My life shouldn't be like that. From what I understand, she put her karma on me, which was, I got jailed, the pipeline to jail. I got living in a car, and that's exactly what happened to me. But I was content with it. But looking back on it, this is one of the entities that they placed on. It mentions a blind woman. It makes me think of that Hungarian woman, and I actually saw her in a dream, portrayed as Barbara the Roach attachment, who I talked about in Astroworld with that magician shop. So, I can't figure out what the fuck is going on. Notice my door is unlocked and somebody been coming in here, and it started when I started wearing my fucking Trump hat right here. They started trying to take my ancestors, and they took a few of them. I felt the presence of the Orishas coming in, along with the Voodoo Loa, to stave it off. But, I feel fatigued, especially dealing with that Tavares. This shit, it's scary. If I wasn't on social media, I would have been stuck in the hell realm. And I pray that I don't get placed in the hell realm. Your mind is supposed to be ready. You're going to have $1 million per second. I felt entity attachments leaving my body. This is the most egregious fucking shit to put on somebody that I've ever fucking heard. Maria Tavares, from what I understand, saw this shit was already on me and, came for the fucking killer. And she wouldn't go after them fucking people. She wouldn't fuck with them. But she'll fuck with me. And it's opened me wide. I had this dubbic here. In a couple of days ago, which the roach spirits were able to fortify and fight against, along with my archangel Michael, who, I mean, from what I understand, I heard in the spirit plane, my spirit team after August the 22nd, 2022 were told, I resent them for this. That's why all I have are them roach spirits. Do the bare minimum to keep me alive, and that's it. And I saw that timeline. I felt help from Pazuzu, who Maria Tavares kept trying to take over. And he was showing me that timeline and trying to fuck with that entity attachment of him right now as I talk. And from what I understand, I'm being locked out of my body, and it's at the behest of an unfair God, entity attachment. You know, I saw the Illuminati in my timelines. Who wanted to block that motherfucker off. Block me off from my body completely. And I just, you know, it's all this unfairness going on, and just, but this shit, you know, I'm just going to play that 1150 hertz, 7000 hertz, or 7000 hertz by itself. That shit is effective enough to get rid of it. You know, think of shit that's used to get rid of roaches and all of that shit. But this shit, that's scary. That shit just rolls in like a potato bug, like no pill, you know, and start taking over your shit. And my Archangel Mike was telling me, do a video tonight, you know, because they're going to be taking all, you know, my shit was critical earlier because of Maria Tavares. And it's just done gotten fucking worse. And she working on her own, you know. I saw her come in with the dubbing, Montezuma, and some other shit. And I think Santa Muerte. So, you know, with that being said, that is critical right there. That the minute I just have an intrusive thought, they can use that as a license that you signed the soul contract, and I don't want to be brought to the hell realm. I felt it, and it's one of the most odious, scariest things you will ever fucking experience. I felt the sensation of roaches. I heard people would be driving, they see giant roaches on the road. And, you know, just imagine coming down to Pena Canyon Boulevard, like where I used to come. I think that dubby comes from this AA place here. Way. And I heard in that August 22nd, 2022 timeline, a Mexican who looks white, and make a long story short, he works there, very, very stoic, strong mind, but he puts doubles and evil shit on people. He owns a maquiladora and took a few of my timelines, which my Archangel Michael and the Roach spirits at times were able to get back. With that being said, this shit is some, you know, of the cruel, it's some of the scariest shit that I've ever fucking encountered. That Dubbick was insane, but this shit here, the potential of ended up in the hell realm like that. And just tacit, you know, how this shit takes over your body and you don't know what the fuck is really going on. It's scary. And, you know, you just got to tranquilize, control your mind as much as you can to combat it. You know, like I said, I've been fighting for my life. This Maria Tavares did a fucking number. This shit is actually worse, but because I was already compromised, that wetback bitch was able to come in and take a lot of my shit. You know, and I heard it, and I heard as part of a sacrifice, curse here insisting I want you to stay dead. But this is the scariest shit, that I really could end up dead. I started feeling like I was being brought into a different world, because they do something where they fuck with your consciousness and then pull you into their hell realm after compromising it. You know, I haven't been able, this is evil shit, been able to post for a week because of Maria Tavares, but they do something where they bring you into the hell realm, and that's some scary shit. That, you know, I kept hearing how this curse works, and it's Baron Samedi saved my motherfucking ass. I'm not gonna lie. You know, I heard with a lot of people they'll try to block it, and shit will keep coming and coming and coming tenaciously. You know, my Archangel Michael started removing some curses, started getting my timelines back. You know, because my connection to God is compromised, I was hearing him say I was dead, you know, just, you know, leg wine, all of that shit. Let them keep my blessings that they stole from me. Don't let her get it back. You know, I almost wasn't. That's a scary prospect to know. You could easily, you know, don't sign a soul contract. You know, figure out frequency, figure out a solution. Florida water works with this shit here. That works. Put some Florida water. You know, it does something where it keeps, it energizes your body, blocks shit from being able to take you and snatch you up. You know, iron tablets to fortify your consciousness. You know, I'm being told, oh, no, do. But really play 7,000 hertz or 7,000 hertz combined with 1150 hertz. Because that's going to help you and your spirit team like a motherfucker. Like I say, from what I understand, my Archangel Michael, almost my ancestors, got taken out my consciousness. They try fucking with my Baron Samedi. Because my shit is already frazzled because of that fucking Maria Tavares. That, for me, she's bad, but that shit, the real Roach Room curse, is like there's no buffer. You're gone, you're gone. Keeping this bitch sad. I want to get taken as Maria Tavares from this Serrano or Solano woman. Got an Estevez, a Lorenzo, and I saw her hire the highest self coming in and fucking shit up. to the other people here. And there's a circuit in the spirit plane, and with that Estevez one being the worst, I heard a tarot reader went to somebody to sell me off as a sacrifice. But with that being said, that, you know, I kept being told about the reality of that curse. There's no buffer on that motherfucker. It's one of the scariest fucking things. You know, because of Maria Tavares, I haven't been able to do videos for a week. I was trying to make a comeback, but I can't. It's hard. I got to get this shit solved, you know, because it's getting to the point where if my shit's exposed, if I wear my fucking spirit rings, yeah, that's me in the back. I plan on doing more paintings today. I get fucked up. You know, during the day, I take naps, and I don't want to fall into a hell realm and not wake up. This ain't no regular fucking curse. You know, I've heard of people. I had an African friend who had wetbags put something on her, who talked about shadow people coming at her. It was some type of rates, and you can use 3517 hertz, 3571 hertz. Those are usually entity attachments made from the desiccated bodies of dead spirits. You can also use, because your ancestors live in your bones and all of that, 117 hertz combined with 800 hertz to revive spirit bodies, because that actually revives physical bodies. So if it can work on physical bodies, you know, entity attachment, the ancestors and all that live in your bones, even when they get crushed and cremated, you know, there's strength in being in the physical. It's something about being in a corporal body that protects you from all the parasitic shit that's just in the astral plane and in the spirit plane, and from being snatched up. You know, as a matter of fact, after May the 1st, now that I think about it, 2024, right after that W did something to me, I was by this guy here. As next thing I know, you know, I felt something used like an incense stick, physical. And I felt like a piece of my, you know, I felt a part of my limb go invisible or transparent. So yeah, something happened at the hands of them people here. You know, again, I got an Estevez, Lorenzo, and a Serrano or Solano, and something else. Go ahead and play this 7,000 hertz. Say something else as well. I would just do a write-up saying I got evil shit bringing me close to the brink of death, but it's going to be hard because of how fucked up my consciousness is. I kept feeling that Maria Tavares get into my collarbone here, my coccyx bone, or one of them or whatever, and start pulling at it, which is where I believe your soul or something is, where something can pull you out your body. And I physically felt that. That shit was scary and tried to pull me more and more into the world of the dead and into Santa Muerte's realm, which she kept blocking. She herself, because she saw the trajectory of my life, and she said, why is this evil ass bitch trying to do this to this girl? This girl ain't, you know... You know, she got a spirit team already that she got soul swap. She got a spirit team that really don't give a fuck about her. She got only roach spirits that give a fuck about her ass. Why do that to somebody? You know, so that you can sell them, you know, from what I understand in that May the 1st, 2024 timeline that Terry Reed is doing. She did an episode on Telemundo, a novella. Feasting off of my blessings while I'm just... not only stuck in hell, man, but that Roach room is scary. I'm happy I saved something about 7,000 hertz combined with 1150 hertz and 7,000 hertz. That 1150 hertz ain't no joke. It blocks that shit from getting any worse. You know, I'm just gonna say it right now. I wish I wasn't doing this video. I wish I could get back to the days where I taught. My entity attach, that's another thing too. This shit will cause your entity attachments to move on their own. You almost ain't got no control. It's irritating and it's scary. I felt my medulla back here, all my shit get removed. Like I say, I have strong spiritual protection, just enough to keep me from dying, but yeah, I see that shit flashing, but this is just... This is some scary... I gotta do something about this. I gotta get, you know... I gotta get this under control. I keep hearing spirit team saying shit about can't get back in that August 22nd, 2022 timeline until 7 years, and you're supposed to be poor. I remember hearing that from not the real Baron Samedi himself, but Baron Samedi's roach attachment, entity attachment he had, which was nothing like this shit. I don't know if it comes from, I believe, hell. This is scary. How this shit just... that's why, I mean, I'm not sleepy. As soon as I woke up, I stay up. But from what I understand, in the middle of the night, the person here who put it came and took a lot of my consciousness, took a lot of my shit, took everything out my consciousness, and this bitch is already living in the Pacific Palisades. She might pay people with spirit, you know, be careful. Took everything, you know. You can use 295 hertz, 1715, 1714 hertz to get shit back. Primarily because of this Maria Tavares that just all set this shit. I started having a feeling that I started, you know, I'll be seeing, hearing people. I know I've heard of people having curses with reds and all that shit, but this is the most evil ass shit that I've ever heard and seen and felt. They go into your consciousness and They start manipulating your entity attachments, your feelings of sensation, shit, where, it's like creating a portal, and it starts internally, and then but it's real. You start getting pulled into some heavy evil shit. I keep hearing the same shit say, you're gonna need to do this, you're gonna need a new entity attachment, and I can't keep or wear certain items. I got to do something about this. I felt Santa birthday energy got on it going back a couple of Saturdays ago. Use 694, 695 hertz. This is some evil, fucked up ass shit. I think that bitch is driving in Pacific Palisades. I heard she got like a little, not a mansion, but she has a big house, 2-story. It's like I had in New Orleans growing up, just like my parents had in Covington, Louisiana, before August 22nd, 2022. Got 2 kids, and that August 22nd, 2022 timeline is doing well off of. And I'm supposed to be here and be under heavy curses, got soul swap, and expect to get back in my body and expect to be poor for the rest of my life. In 7 years. And I was told that Roach realm curse, that's really what I want to talk about. That's some scary shit. The reality of being under curses is no joke, but that shit was... I felt I was about to start seeing shit, really seeing shit that's not there corporally. And then seeing fucking roaches in physical form and feeling that shit crawl all over you. I was told that's exactly what happens with that curse. And here I am. My eyes were starting to actually look good. I may just start wearing aloe vera. Because it does something, when a curse like this hits, it keeps everything within. I'm trying to think of more frequencies to get your shit back. So my parents got turned into real lizards. It's entity attachments of people made into mindless things. That August 22nd, 2022 timeline used 42 hertz to get rid of that, 1248 hertz to get rid of that shit. I wonder what would happen if I was to use 1248 hertz on this shit. Let me try it. That's like the God of hand frequency. 960 hertz is another good one, but 7,000 hertz, 1150 hertz, that's why the Asians, they fuck with frequency, because... I'm just thinking how everything, my life on the PCH, I had a lot of fun, but I just didn't know back then and how it feels like an illusion, but it isn't. My biggest concern is, honestly, I pray that if I go to sleep, they don't hold that shit. It's something about your God or something, your connection to God over my head, and I don't pass away in my fucking sleep. Other thing this should be doing too is throwing entity attachments upon entity attachments on you, so you don't know what the fuck is going on. I just had to play 7,000 hertz frequency as an emergency to block something. I gotta get my shit back. Hopefully I don't die in my sleep. That's scary. That's scary how your intrusive thoughts, your erratic mind could be used against you, to make a soul contract. You really didn't consent expressly to it. I'm going to mention, too, that, when I went dim again this week, I may post this on my blog, but I heard that the people put this shit on me or watch, and I look even more fucking haggard. I'm fully aware of it, so I got to do something. when I was walking, I felt in my kitchen area, I felt it felt like I was, walking at one point onto a muddy, slippery, slimy, wet, like floor substance. And from what I've seen with Santa Muerte's realm, you end up in her, where you're in her nostrils and all of that and covered in goo. I saw that with Selena Quintanilla Perez, otherwise known as Selena. Two other black women who were on YouTube saw where she was. She was stuck in the hell realm. She got sacrificed to Santa Muerte because she was over the Mexican over soul consciousness. The prospect, that was scary. And the prospect of dying, and I'm healthy and young, I need to get back. I can work out because of this shit. I took iron tablets and did something to fuck up my entity attachments where I can't get certain shit back. That's why you got to be careful with this shit. That's some scary shit. I got this Maria Tavares, and now this motherfucker is here probably trying to figure it out, trying to fucking kill my ass. So I'm just going to say this right now, man. Just pray for me, because this is evil.